Hello, my name is Brant. That is B-R-A-N-T. Hunt, H-U-N-T. Wanted to share another video today from the book called The Secret of Light by Walter Russell. This will be chapter 2, what was called The Creator and Creation. And so thank you for being here. So we'll continue on reading this particular book that's important for us to read for a couple of reasons. One is simply is Walter Russell is not liked by the scientific community because he looks at things completely different than most people in the science community. He's basically formulated a different theory about how things are created, so to speak. And he actually believes that there actually is a God, which I'm sure that modern scientists don't agree with, because they're coming in with a presupposition. Now, I don't know if we could say that about Walter Russell or not. I don't know, what Russell was. I do know that Russell was a enormously brilliant man, a sculpturist, had many gifts. So did his wife. Kind of almost interesting that the two of them had gifts that actually, in some ways, complemented each other. But anyway, let's get into the particular book here, Chapter 2, The Creator and the Creation. So God, the Creator, is all there is. That is, God created universes of matter is motion appears to exist. To our senses, subsequently disappears to reappear. It has no reality, but simulates reality through the illusion of two-way projecting lights in motion. God, the Creator, is the one being, the one person, the one mind, the one thinker, the one self, the one life, the one soul, the one power, and the one reality. God creation is the image or imagined pattern form of God's imagining, built in his image. It is the body of God, the record of his thinking, created by him for expressing the oneness of life. God's thinking and imagining are qualities of God, knowing. God, knowing mind, is timeless, you see, and still. So God himself is above time. So he never ages. But then God is not a human, is not of flesh, but of spirit. And we do know that simply is in Scripture. I'm trying to think of the verse right now. Maybe it'll come to me. It'll come to me here in a second. So, God knowing mind is timeless and still. So also are God's thinking and imagining timeless and still. So likewise, man thinking and imagining are as timeless and still as is his knowing. You see, stillness never can be motion or become motion, but it can appear to be. There's a verse in the Bible called "Be still and know that I am God." That's a characteristic of God, but it's also a characteristic of someone who is in stillness, because it's then reality. Stillness becomes what we call timelessness. You see, and so it's stillness equal with what I call a caboose, so to speak, pulling behind it is timeless and stillness go together, you see. Stillness never can be motion, never can be motion or become motion, but it can appear to be. I just said that, I'm sorry. Motion merely seems, but stillness always is. The universal equilibrium can never be other than its own balance, but it can seem to be. The illusion which is motion springs from stillness and returns to stillness. This is a universe of rest. There is not but rest in the universe. Mind knows its one idea of creation as one whole. Mind thinks its one whole idea into seeming parts. Hence the illusion of motion, which we call creation, and the illusion of substance, which we call matter. Matter, motion, time, change, dimension, and substance have no existence. The light of knowing mind alone exists. There is but one mind and one thinker. The one light of knowing mind is self of God. It is the universal self which centers all omnipresent self-creating bodies of God's self. This self-creating universe is the mind, imagined body of God and record of God's thinking. So whatever God's thinking, it happens, you see. We can know God. We cannot know his body, but we can see it. Likewise, we can know man. We can not know the body of man, but we can see it. What God is, man is. God and man are one. Our seemingly duality. We seemingly live in two universes, the still cosmic mind universe of knowing and the moving thought of mind, rhythmically wave universe of sensing. We cannot sense the cosmic universe of God knowing, nor can we know the thought wave universe of God's thinking. The cosmic mind universe of the one light of all knowing is all that is. The vibrating thought wave universe of sensing merely seems. And then the next section is called the cosmic God light. The one still light of God is the cosmic light which watches over all creative things at countless points locatable by man, but invisible to man also. Man's senses have misled him into believing in a force called magnetism, which attracts compass needles and lifts tons of steel. These phenomena of motion are due to electricity and not to magnetism. The cosmic light is absolutely still. It neither attracts nor repels. We now need to comprehend the nature and purpose of the magnetic poles of suns, planets, and all other moving ascensions of the one light. Likewise, we need to know the nature and purpose of the two electric workers, which interweave this light mirage of seeming motion and dissolve is sequentially for rebuilding. This will give a foundation of knowledge to man, which will enable him to see behind the illusions which deceive his senses. The time has come in the history of man's journey from his material jungle to his spiritual mountain top when it is imperative that he must live more and more in the cosmic light universe of knowing and less in the electric wave universe of sensing. So he's revealing in some ways simply is with the idea of knowing, knowledge will eventually lead to wisdom. But it's not based upon what your senses are, you see. By your using your head with the ability to learn things and creating what I would call a knowledge base will eventually lead to what we call wisdom. Man must know that his power lies in the stillness of his creating self and not in the motion by means of which he manifests that stillness. He must know that his self is God in him. Also, he must know gradually the dawning awareness of the cosmic light of God in him. But with it comes an awareness of his purposelessness in manifesting the light and the power to manifest it. Man must now know the universe of God for what it is instead of what his senses have made him believe it to be. Also, he must know that this forever creating universe, which seems so real to him, is but a cosmic cinema conceived by the master playwright. It is but a electrical projected spectrum color light and sound wave motion picture play of cause and effect thrown on the black screen of image space and time. The cause is real. The effect is but a simulation of the reality. The self of man is cause. His self-creating body is effect. God's universe of magnetic light is static. God's perpetually creating electric wave universe of two moving lights is dynamic and forever moves. The two moving lights are projected through each other from the static one to create the illusion of the idea they both manifest. The illusion which manifests the idea of creation through seeming motion is not the idea which is seemingly manifests. Creation is the product of a mind knowing expressed in form by mind thinking. The product of mind is not the idea which is simulated. No idea of mind is ever created. It is but simulated by form and motion. Idea is eternal and belongs to God's still universe of knowing. Form of idea in matter is transient, but in eternity repeated as transient form of idea. The positive principle, the foundation of spiritual universe, is stillness and balanced stillness of the one magnetic light of God. Balanced stillness is the positive principle of stability and unity. In it there are no negations. The foundation of the physical universe is motion, the ever-changing motion arising out of pairs of unbalanced conditions which must forever move to seek the balanced stillness of unity from which they sprang as multiple pairs of units. So this is revealing also not only the outside universe such and such, but it's also revealing what is internally within you. You see, you must deal with what we call the unstillness, or what we would call unbalanced conditions that are in your own life. And balance leads to stillness. So you must bring the two to a recognition, so to speak, to being balanced. And so when you're in balance with yourself, you're at what we would call being still. Unbalanced motion is the negative principle of instability, multiplicity, and separateness, which is this physical universe of electric octave waves of opposed lights. In the negative principle, there is no positive. It is composed entirely of pairs of negation, which are forever avoiding each other. So just sort of canceling out each other, which is what he just says. Canceling out each other, action and reaction, thus negating each other by never allowing either one to recede as fixed zero of universal stillness. So it's just like like budding like this, like nothing happens. There's no change in one side to the other, the stream from right to left, so to speak. The next section is called Quality Begets Quantities. The still magnetic light universe of God, knowing, is an invisible and unchanging, unconditional, and unmeasurable quality from which visible, changing, and conditioned and measurable quantities spring to simulate those qualities through two-way wave motion. There's no one word in any language to express that quality, so we must use many words, all having the same meaning but different connotations. These words are mind, consciousness, love, life, truth, desire, knowledge, power, balance, and law. The God quality of the one light is seemingly transformed into qualities by being divided into pairs of opposite conditional light pressures of this electric universe. These divided pairs are then multiplied into countless octave wave units of light pressure and set in the opposite direction of motion to create the illusion of sequence and change and dimension and conditions and time in a universe where none of these efforts, or I should say not efforts, but effects of motion exist. The calm sea, for example, is unchanging, unmeasurable quality of oneness, just you see, of sameness and stillness. Upon its calm surface, there is no change, nothing to count or to measure. The moment that qualities of waves spring from that quality of calm, those qualities can be measured. Likewise, they are forever changing, nor are there two points in them which are similarly conditioned. This creating electric universe is composed of moving light waves which sprang from a calm sea of the one still light. It is a universe of moving pairs of quantities which simulate the quality of stillness from which these qualities spring. So this is a beneficial perspective, okay? The qualities of divided and conditional pairs of opposite lights, which thus simulates the one, are not the one they simulate. The Creator is one mind, indivisible. Creation is one whole idea of mind divided into countless simulated ideas of mind through motion. The simulation of idea thus expressed is not the idea that it expresses. Parts of the one whole idea are only seeming. There are no two separate or separable things in the universe. There is but one whole simulation of the one whole idea. Here's a quote from the Divine Idiot, from the same writer. Everything that is of everything else that is. All things are indissoluble, united, end quote. And that's what we're supposed to be like, you see. United, whole, one. Every happening anywhere happens everywhere. The milkweed fluff floating lazily in the summer sky affects the balance of the whole universe of suns and galaxies. Every part of the universe moves in interdependent union, as the wheels of a watch move in unison. The watch wheels are geared together mechanically. The rhythmic wave universe is geared together electrically. So he's speaking of electrical universe, okay? The entire universe is one and must be kept in balance as one. Any type of change reveals that simply something else has to be taken away. Change of a condition in any one part are simultaneously reflected in every other part and are succinctly repeated in it. And he continued on. Say thou, this is a quote, say thou these things in words of man, knowing, for verily I say, I am within all things, without all things, and involved in all things, for I am everywhere. So that's being omnipresent. Quote, all things are omnipresent, for all things extend from mind of me, and I am omnipresent. Quote, all omnipresent things are omniscient, for I am within them, and I am omniscient, all-knowing. When man's consciousness telleth him of my presence within and without him, he will then know all things, for I know all things, I am he. Quote, all thinking tends to manifest all power, when consciousness within them recognizable their omnipotence. Until then, things are not, but things manifested me not, being but blank slates upon which to write my mighty thoughts for blind eyes. For I am omnipotent. I give all power to him who asketh, but no one may ask of me who is not aware of me. See thou to it that man well knoweth that, and manifest thou thyself that principle of power in thy own words. Quote, for I say to all the imagined forms of my imagining, that power lieth in them to manifest the balanced light which centereth them, by making the one light appear as two unbalanced lights, which interchange sequentially but equally. Another quote. And again, I say that all things which man senses are but waves of dual light, which record my electric thinking in the imagined forms of my imaging. And also, I say that the imagining forms of my imagining have no being, for I alone have being. End quote. This is all quotes from the Divine Idiot. And so this is the end of chapter 2, and also the quotes from Divine Idiot, which is one of his books also. So thank you for being here. We'll stop here at chapter 2. It's about time for me to have something to eat, so I'm going to take a break. So this is well worth listening to. I appreciate each and every one of you being here, and may you have ears to hear and eyes to see and bring about understanding within your own heart. Okay, thank you, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.